You're on the Six Screens Telenetwork, earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited, in exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society.
And now, the end is near.
Well, here we go again. We got another Saturday night here on the Six Screens, and we're glad you're with us. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We got the phone lines lighting up. We got the commenters coming in. We're here because you're here. Well, there we go. Hello, everyone. Boy, I will tell you, I always tell you, but I'll tell you again. I am really in a good mood tonight. I hope you are. Well, what's putting me in a good mood? Well, I'm going to tell you, we are getting points up on the scoreboard. There's no question about it. More and more Jehovah's Witnesses are seeing what's going on in that evil cult. They're packing their bags and they're heading for the mountains. And many of them landing right here. They're coming right into a safe haven. That's the Six Screens of the Watchtower. Well, I'm so glad to be on the Six Screens and having our own newscast on here. We've been doing it for 16 years, and we have never had a week where we couldn't talk about something critical, negative, cynical that's going on in the Watchtower, as well as tonight. Well, I want to thank all the people coming in on YouTube, on Facebook, and I want to welcome people on one of our new platforms that we're now broadcasting on is Twitch. Have you heard of Twitch? Well, we got people listening in on Twitch tonight. A lot of them are young folks, and thank you guys for coming into Twitch tonight. I know on Twitch they do a lot of gaming, the video games. A lot of young witnesses in there, so we're hoping to reach them. So welcome aboard, all of those on our Twitch network. Wow, I have to say, what a week this has been. And I know I say it. I sound like a broken record, right? You say, Rick, come on now, just calm down. Just calm down. I know I sound like a broken record here every Saturday night. But, I search all week long. I search all week long for the top stories that are going on in the world of the Jehovah's Witnesses. And I get excited when I see news like what I'm seeing. I am gathering intel. And the intel that I am gathering is certainly suggesting to me that we are seeing an organization that is free falling, an organization whose time has come. And as I've always said, the monkey died, the circus is over. Yeah, the game is over. People are now knowing what this evil organization is up to and how they have been scammed. Well, anyways, my name's Rick Farron, and I'm coming to you from the apostate capital of the world. And I mean that. I still have people writing me, Rick, you're so lucky. You're in the apostate capital of the world. I wish I had apostates where I live. Well, don't you worry. As I always say, they're going to be coming to all the quadrants of the United States. They're going to be coming to all the countries of the world. Yes, the Jehovah's Witness religion has so many people leaving right now. They are hemorrhaging. And they're going to show up. Right now, a lot of them are PMOs, physically in, mentally out. They're still a little bit afraid to step out entirely and say, hey, I'm an activist. I don't like the witnesses. They got a lot to lose, so I can understand that. Well, let's take a look. Let's see what's happening here behind the scenes. Let's take a look and see what's going on behind the curtains, as we always say. Kingdom Halls, well, they've opened up 3 weeks ago. We've talked about it here on our network. And the Kingdom Halls, friends, they're looking pretty doggone empty. I don't know what it's like where you are, but people are sending me information into the 6 screens, and I've got news for you. I can't believe what they're sending me. And I don't think they're sending me phony baloney information. There's no reason for them to lie. But now that the meetings are back in person, it's giving us an opportunity to see the cult for what it really is. Yeah, if you have been away from meeting in person for 2 years, which all of Jehovah's Witnesses have been really around the world because of COVID pandemic. So you've been away for 2 years. So about 3 weeks ago, they say, okay, everybody, we can now come back to the meeting. How happy you think the witnesses are in doing that? Would you be happy? I don't think so. I don't think you'd be happy at all. And that's why I'm getting these emails and getting these messages sent to me that the Kingdom Halls are looking empty. In fact, one of the mails I got here, my hall is less than 1/3 what it used to be during the midweek meetings. I don't know how many are on Zoom, but there's nobody at the Kingdom Hall, according to this man. He says less than 1/3 of what they used to have. So let me just put that into mathematical equation. If you had 100 people going, 1/3 of 100 be 33, right? So less than 33 people are attending out of 100, maybe. All right, there you have it. I mean, that's a big drop. Would you say 33% drop is a big drop? Well, how would you like to, if you don't think it is, how would you like to go get your paycheck this week and you're making 33% of what you normally make? Would you be happy? Absolutely not. That's a big drop. So also in another hall, about 90% of the people in person are no longer meeting. So 90% are no longer coming in, according to this. It's a little mixed up, this message that I got. So it says it has gone from about 90%. Okay, 90%, they're down to 30%. So they were getting 90% before COVID, but now they're down to 30%. Okay, that makes sense. I got that. So, okay, so there we go again. About 1/3 are coming to the Kingdom Hall. And also we got another comment coming in here concerning it's the circuit overseer's visit in this guy's Kingdom Hall. He's coming this week, and he says there were 68 families on Zoom, and the hall was empty, half empty. Only half the people were there. So, people are beginning to scratch their back. They're going to the Kingdom Halls and they're saying, where is everybody? I mean, would you be happy? Man, do you think those meetings were worth going to? Geez, you'd have to, especially if you had kids. It wasn't too bad if all your children were grown. But boy, when you had little children, and, I'm not crying here, but, I had 5 children with my former wife. She died, but we had 5 children, raised them all as Jehovah's Witnesses. And you want to talk about a chore. Boy, getting them ready for the meeting. Of course, my wife did that, but I'd be out working and I'd come running home, and our Kingdom Hall met at 7:30. And then they took a vote in the Kingdom Hall that they said we should move it up to 7:00. And I was against that because many nights I would get in about 6:30, 6:45, put all the kids in the car, eat my supper down fast and run off to the meeting. Too much. And I'm telling you, I don't miss it. It was a chore. And it was a chore for my wife too, getting all the kids ready, polishing their shoes, pressing their dresses, washing their hair, braiding their hair, all of that. It was a day's work just to get ready for the meeting. So I know a lot of you guys out there too. You don't miss it, do you? Do you really miss the Kingdom Hall? I had a person, an ex-witness, tell me they did. I couldn't believe it. They said they liked going to the meetings. It was like it gave them something to do. It was like a disciplined lifestyle. Well, I can find better things to do, and I'm sure you can too, than going to the Kingdom Hall, right? So, what do you feel about that? Well, if you were still a witness today, would you like going back to the Kingdom Hall? What do you think? Go ahead, *6.
Rick, this is Joe from Colorado. Looking back, because I was an elder, you had to be there a half hour early, and then sometimes you'd get stuck with elders meetings, and sometimes our elders meetings would last till 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night. No, I don't miss it. I don't miss the preparation, preparing for parts. I don't miss having to, shower, put on a suit when you really could be at home, spending time with your family. But I do want to share something with you. I talked to a nurse. She was a little girl when I was in the Watchtower. She's not one of Jehovah's Witnesses, but her mom is in the Spanish congregation. And today I asked her what the attendance is like. Now, there are two congregations in Fort Morgan, an English and a Spanish. And the Spanish had better attendance. They had like 90 in attendance. Her mom said that there are like about 20 going to the meetings. So even in the Spanish congregations, you're seeing people that don't want to go anymore. Now, some are on Zoom, but they just don't want to go to the Kingdom Hall anymore.
Well, do you blame them, Joe?
No, I don't.
No, you don't. Hey, you know what? I have to tell you, I saw a video that you did this week and put it up on YouTube. Would you mind if I play a little bit of it and then you can talk about it?
Rick, what I'd like to do, because there was a lot of traffic, and you could put up the video, but you may not be able to hear the whole discussion. The video is about 6 minutes long, but do you want me to just share what happened?
Yeah, well, let me just play about a minute or so people can get the idea.
Okay.
Well, what you did here was quite good, quite brave. You walked up to the witnesses when they were doing the cart work. I believe it was in Colorado somewhere.
Denver.
Denver. Okay, yeah. So let's put it up. So let's play it for about a minute or so, and then I'll bring you back on, and you can tell us what was going on. But I enjoyed the video. I thought you did a really, really good job. So let's play the video, and let's see how it went. Let's play it right now. Give us a second. Let's do it. It's Joe walking along up to the cart right now. He's walking up to the cart.
I have a question for you. I don't know the Bible too well, but I do know that Jesus said when he was looking at the children come to me, he wanted the children to come to him. And then I believe it's in Psalm where God said that he noticed the embryo was talking about King David. Right? Well, I was at a convention. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, thank you. But at a convention, one of your leaders, Stephen Lett, said that children, when they're born, they're enemies of God. Yes. Now, my problem with that is how can you follow him?
Oh, okay, we got we got the idea there, Joe. I mean, I thought that was really great that people could get the idea. So you were going up to the cart. Now you were bringing up.
Yeah.
Tell the folks on here what you were bringing up about Stephen Lett, what he said.
Okay, so everybody knows that at their last convention, Stephen Lett made the comment. He said, "Well, we see babies and we say, oh, how cute these little angels are." And he said, actually, we should say these babies are enemies of God. So I was in Denver, and the reason you could hardly hear that was a very busy street. So I saw the witnesses, and I couldn't believe that they were wearing masks. Nobody is wearing masks in Denver. So I went around the block, parked, and I decided to confront them. And I went up to him and I said, I started off using a little theocratic warfare. I said, I don't know a whole lot about the Bible, but, the Bible said that Jesus actually wanted the young children to come to him. He loved children. And then I said, the Bible also mentions in the book of Psalm that that God noticed the embryo, speaking of King David. And I said, so with that in mind, how can you, and I did this on purpose, I said, how can you follow a leader like Stephen Lett, who says that children or babies are born enemies of God? I mentioned that when babies are born, they don't even know who God is. They don't even know who Satan is. In fact, they don't know right from wrong. Even when a child is 2 or 3, you have to tell them, don't touch the stove, because they don't know better. But I wanted to see his response. And you know what? He didn't say, oh, we don't follow a man. So that's why I said, how can you follow a leader that would make that kind of statement? Now, I will also tell you, his wife was shocked. She goes, oh, no, you saw that. So they also saw this comment and were very embarrassed about it. Now, this is what he said to me. He said, well, I'll be honest with you. He spoke, I don't believe that he spoke very well of that. So he acknowledged that one of the governing body members misspoke. So what I did is I wanted to kind of transition the conversation, and I said, well, if the Watchtower has such a low value for children, babies, thinking that they're enemies of Satan, no wonder they have a pedophile problem. And when I said that, I noticed his wife and daughter got very uncomfortable. And I said, if children are not valued in this organization, no wonder there's a pedophile problem. And then that's when I went ahead and said, I'm going to be honest with you. I used to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses for 49 years. I was an elder for 13 years. And I actually had in my Watchtower family 3 pedophiles. 2 were appointed men. And that's when his wife and daughter kind of bolted. And what shocked me was he said that he was actually a therapist that helps children that have been molested. And he said this, he said, actually, the Watchtower has come a long way. He started with the 2-witness rule. He said, you know about the 2-witness rule? And I said, well, you can't go back to the old Mosaic law. That's baloney. But this is what he said, and maybe one of the people that's listening in could help me. He said that there's a new policy where the elders will now announce to the congregation that they have to be careful because there's a pedophile in the congregation. Now, I'm having trouble buying that. Now, in the show prior, there was a man that said that he was pulled aside and he was told to keep an eye on his kids when they go to the bathroom. And he said, why? And it's because there were some pedophiles in the congregation. But I don't believe that the elders would go on the platform and just give a blanket statement telling the congregation, keep an eye on your kids. We have a pedophile in the congregation, but we can't name him. So does anybody want to add to that?
Well, if nobody speaks up, I'll be the icebreaker here. Joe, I research Jehovah's Witness news all week long. I eat it, I sleep it, and I practically drink it. I have not seen anything to that effect. I do know that the Southern Baptist Convention they are now admitting, and without any hesitation at all, that they have pedophiles. And if you go to their website, they have all, there's a link and you can click it and see all the known pedophiles in the congregation. Now, I'm just thinking out loud, there may be some isolated congregations that has a real problem. And they're kind of suggesting it, to some of the witness families that this man has a problem. So that could be the case. But as far as a public announcement being made by the witnesses, nah, it would be hard pressed to find that one. Hey, great interview, by the way.
Yeah.
Great interview. In fact, I want to just tell you about that interview, then get right back to this. But I want to tell you did a fine.
Wait, can I say one more thing, Rick, before I let you go?
Go ahead.
Can I say one more thing?
Oh, of course, yeah.
The Bible says that the Pharisees would find heavy loads. What shocked me is the fact that these poor people, it was 95 degrees out, and they're wearing masks as they man the cart. Now, I don't know. I'm sure it's a policy. If you're going to be out manning the cart, you have to wear a mask. But nobody in that whole area was wearing masks, and I just wanted to add that to it. But I'll let you go with that. Thank you, Rick.
Well, Joe, no, I just wanted to tell you that you did a great job. And what I saw that you did that I really liked is you leveled with those witnesses. You said, well, look, I'll just cut to the chase here. I am a former Jehovah's Witness. But, for that man to say that he's a therapist, helping children that have been abused, that I don't know. I mean, I believe him. But man, don't you think the first place you would look for children being abused is in his own organization? Geez, sir, get on the ball, Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Hey, Rick?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
It's Steve.
Steve. Yes.
When the society said that, children are enemies of God and so forth, and here's the thing. We know through the 80s, 90s, 2000s, a lot of young people left, which means their indoctrination, their mind control programming did not take. So if you are a fully indoctrinated parent and you want your child to be in the new order, when you hear that statement, what is your reaction going to be? It's going to study with your children more frequently. You're going to unknowingly indoctrinate your children longer and stronger and harder. And I guarantee you, the society will so lovingly provide new instruments to begin programming your children as young as possible. That's what that statement was for. They want to get the children programmed earlier and harder so they don't leave. That's what that's all about. They don't. So how are you going to do that? You scare the parent. The parent is now scared. Oh my goodness. How do I keep that from happening? Oh, I have to pray to Jehovah. And I guarantee you, the loving governing body will provide you with more mind control material and motivate the parents to study with their children. Like I said, longer, stronger, sooner, and harder to get those kids indoctrinated so they don't leave. That's what that's all about. That's what they're going to do. Everybody's looking at it as, oh, they said a terrible statement, this is that. You have to look at it as if you are a fully indoctrinated parent. That's what that's going to cause. They're going to indoctrinate the children and keep them from leaving.
Well, very good. Thank you, Chewy. Yeah, I just want to... go ahead, Chewy, yeah?
Yeah, well, on the comment on going back to the Kingdom Halls, I was going to say, if I was a 7 or 8 year old kid and I heard what I heard on Sunday, I would ask my mommy and daddy, Mommy, and I'm an enemy of God. Do I have to go there? They're calling me enemies of God. I don't want to go to the Kingdom Hall. That's what I would say.
And exactly. And then the kids are going to want to be programmed. How do I not be an enemy of God? And the parents and the organization are going to provide the way out. It's order out of chaos, and that's exactly what they're doing.
I actually saw a Kobe in a store today, and I was going to ask him kind of what Joe did, but he was on the phone. He couldn't talk to me. I said hi to him, but he was on the phone. I was going to ask him what he thought about the comment. But the meetings, they're like 50%. I've called all over. I've called a few different places and stuff. They're all 50-50. One brother said, told me, says, "Oh, they all made it back to the hall yet." Yeah, that's what you want to use for an excuse. But anyway, that's all I got.
Oh, very good, Chewy. Just go ahead now.
Hey,
When,
Rick?
yeah, hold on, Randy. I just want to say, Chewy, when you're always done talking, just hit *6 again, which you did. That's good. There's a lot of noise coming earlier from your phone. All right, go ahead, Randy. Yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to say to Joe, I have heard before where the elders supposed to warn the members of the congregation if there's a pedophile, but the way I've heard it done is that they'll just tell them privately, like one-on-one, watch out for your children without naming who the pedophile is. And I don't think, I've never heard it said be from the platform, and I don't think it ever would be. I think probably that elder was just saying that it was announced that way publicly. That was his way of saying that they go around privately. I mean, he didn't want to he was too embarrassed to say they just do it privately. They don't get on the stand.
Yeah, I believe you're right with that, Randy. Yeah, that would be the way they do it. Yep.
It's me again,
Rick?
Miss Chewy. One more thing. I'll investigate that a little bit because in my wife's, they have a guy who's actually went to the hall before and he kind of dropped off, and he's a pedophile. He was in prison. He went to prison for 4 or 5 years on that thing, and he showed back up at the hall after about 10 or 15 years. So I'll kind of see if they're making it. I'll kind of feel around and see if they can't make a
Rick?
announcement about that.
Oh, good. Thank you, Chewy. Yeah, go ahead.
You know, it's Steve. You know how quick people forget. They're talking about what they said from the platform. Hasn't it always been a lie and BS from what they say from the platform and what they say in the publications? Now people are trying to say, oh, they said this, they're going to do that. They don't do what they say from the platform. That's to pacify the people that are sitting there believing this stuff. So why, with everybody's experience, knowing how the organization has always operated, why they would even be quoting them or taking any consideration, giving them any benefit of the doubt, what they say from the platform and in the publications, because we know that's not what they do behind the scenes.
Well, you're right with that one. Thank you, Steve. All right, who else we got in there? Someone else wants to come on. We got a bunch of people in the green zone. If you want to come on, say hello. Say hello to Joe. Say hello to me.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Rick.
Hello, Apostle Babe. Go ahead, Apostle Babe.
Okay, yes, hi, this is Apostle Babe Linda James. So I've been listening to the Wednesday night meetings for quite some time now through Zoom, and it's from a congregation that's in Los Angeles County, a very large city, in Los Angeles County, multi-generational, nationalities and everything. I've never, ever heard of such a thing being announced, but I have heard, so-and-so is no longer a witness, and the other kind of announcements. It just seems like the most unlikely thing I would ever hear from a platform. It seems more likely what Randy said, that it would be told to parents, one-on-one. But this person saying this to Joe sounds very unlikely. And yeah, I don't believe that for a minute.
All right.
Linda, can I say something?
Say anything.
Can I say?
Sure, Joe.
Well, when he said that, as an elder for 13 years, the why I struggled with it is, let's say that was a new policy. They're going to go up and on the platform, they're going to say, friends, we have a pedophile in the congregation. Just keep an eye on your kids. Well, you know how the gossip is in congregations. That's not going to fly. They're going to want to know who the guy is or who the woman is. So that's why I'm not buying it either. But I appreciate what Randy said. I think I might have misunderstood this man. Maybe they just go to the family of the victim and privately tell them. So I might have misunderstood because I just don't see them going up on the platform and saying, hey, everybody, we have a pedophile in the congregation. Keep an eye on your kids. I don't see it happening.
I picture the whole congregation just being a stampede and running out the front door. I just can't imagine it. It's just so, yeah, ridiculous.
Well,
I agree with it. I'm alarmed. I'm alarmed with that therapist. That's just very strange to me. I know that I've read certain situations because I had a very hard time with a therapist when I was 16, and I went into finding him. And what I have found is that other therapists will have something made up to where they know that if they see this therapist and do anything against the organization, that therapist will be reporting them, which I didn't get the liberty of, but that's very strange to hear him talk like this, that he helps people. Ugh, that's so weird. But anyways, thank you, Joe, for sharing what you did. This seems very unlikely.
yeah, very good,
Okay,
Joe.
guys,
Yeah,
bye-bye.
thank you, Linda, and thank you, Joe. That's great. Hey, listen, keep up the good work, and glad to have you on here, Joe. Give you another minute or so to wrap it up. What would you like to say to the audience? Well, I guess he's not here with us, but anyways, we're glad to always listen to Joe.
I will say one last thing.
Go ahead.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
You know, I really, the reason I was able to keep him engaged, first of all, he called me out when I finally told him, look, I'm going to cut to the chase. I was in the Watchtower for 49 years. And he kind of said, well, you told me you didn't know anything about the Bible. And I said, it's called theocratic warfare. So what I want to share with people, you know, I'm not big into, remember the old cart crashing where people are just so upset at the witnesses, what they've done to them. I don't want to, when I go to these carts, and I'm going to do more of it, I want to engage in conversation. So I've seen some people that come out of the Watchtower. They're so mad that they want to argue. You don't need to argue with these individuals. Just be upfront with them, and that's why I was upfront with him. And I think you'll get a better that maybe him, his wife, or daughter wake up in the future.
Well, let's hope that happens, Joe. Let's hope that happens. Well, anyways, let's move on.
And I think there's a big difference between being assertive and being aggressive. And I think Joe is just being assertive, you know? Big difference than being aggressive and being all mad and giving him trouble, you know?
Absolutely.
And by the way, we need to remember that there was an article a few years back that did say pedophiles have infiltrated the congregation. I forget which article that was, but it was, you know, a study article a while back. So we have gotten a little bit of yes, we do have pedophiles, but they have infiltrated. It's not like they were Jehovah's Witnesses first and then, you know, it's like they came from outside, from the devil. They infiltrated. But yeah, just wanted to say that.
Well, no, in fact, I do remember that. I do remember that, Linda, that article. And we did talk about it here on JW World News a while back. But in that article, that's right, they used the word infiltrate. And it's almost as though what's happening is people from the outside are coming in having these problems. And that was a bald-faced lie. It's not people coming in from the outside. I'm sure there are some. But the bulk of the pedophiles in the Jehovah's Witness organization, they're rooted in the organization. They've been there for years. Thank you, Linda. Go ahead. We got one more comment. Go ahead, sir. Yep.
Yeah. Just let me close it out. Close out the segment with this. Majority of pedophiles are men, and their number one targets are boys from 6 to about 12. And what I was alluding to earlier in the program is an elder grabbed me by my arm, brought me in the back room, and said to me in no uncertain terms, when your boys go to the men's room, make sure you go with them. And it was said, you know, quite assertively. And I was going, wow, you know, make sure I go like it was a big deal. I've got a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old. Yeah, I didn't go to the bathroom at home with them, you know. So they definitely, they probably the elders probably talked to all of us parents that had children that are in the target range. That's my thought on it, Rick.
Well,
Thank
you're
you.
right, Dick. Well, I'll tell you what, that story has legs. I mean, you have to stop and think about that. And the congregation that you were in, I knew the congregation because you used to live up by me, and there were 5 pedophiles in that congregation. Thank you, Dick. Well,
Hey, Rick, I know a congregation out in Suffolk County in Mastic on Sunrise Highway, 165 North Sunrise Service Road. There's a congregation there with pedophiles, and on 21 Avenue in Mastic, Angela Lipston. She's a big witch pedophile.
yeah. Well, they're out there. I mean, go ahead. You with us? Go ahead, sister.
I'm sorry, but I just wanted to, in case anybody hasn't heard, for a while there, they were actually actively recruiting pedophiles from the prisons. And a lot of people don't seem to remember that. They were not.
Thank you. I know you don't like being interrupted, Anne Marie, but thank you. That's exactly the case. They do recruit them from the prison.
Thank you, Rick.
There you go. Well, yeah, no, that's right. They do. And I'll tell you something. The Jehovah's Witnesses, they have prison witnessing programs. Now, I don't know if they stopped it, but so somebody's got their speakerphone on. Could you just shut that off and mute yourself? Yeah. That's what does it. All right, let's move on. Okay, that's we'll move on from that subject. I just want to go on to we have a friend. I mentioned this to you. His name is Atlantis. He sends us stuff all the time here at the 6 Screens. So we do have some more information that came in from Atlantis this week, and is concerning an additional contribution box that is now to be placed in the Kingdom Halls. I'm going to read you the letter. I'm going to read you the letter that I got from Atlantis. Now, this is a letter that was sent to the brothers and sisters, different congregations, sent to the elders, and they were to read the letter to the congregation like they always used to do when we had reminders and announcements. But here we go, July 1st, 2022, just a week or so ago, for selected congregations in the United States branch territory. It said here, the world headquarters, Jehovah's Witnesses audio video construction project at Ramapo, New York, as we previously announced at the 2019 annual meeting and at the September 2021 midweek video meeting, Ramapo, make yourself available. That was a video they made. Now, they've been talking about this movie studio for 2 years, right, folks? And they first brought it up at the annual meeting in 2019. But now they're going forward with it. I don't know who they had to pay off up there in Ramapo, but I tried to come in and talk to the people, but they shut me down. But anyways, that's another story. Well, we'll go on with what this contribution box is all about. It says it is truly exciting to see that the rapid growth in Jehovah's organization is creating a need for expanded theocratic facilities to support audio-video production. Many brothers and sisters have experienced great joy in being able to participate in the construction of facilities used for Jehovah's worship. Whether we can help out on a building site or not, all of us can have privilege of supporting such projects through our voluntary donations. Voluntary donations. And as a reminder, an additional donation type or donatejw.org, you can contribute there. They're telling you where to contribute. So now they're setting up, they have the online ways to support this. You can have them automatically deduct money from your credit card, your debit card. So they're really bringing forth a message that, they want money from you as a Jehovah's Witness online. And also they're setting a contribution box, a special box. Now they have a box right now in the Kingdom Hall for the worldwide work. But this one is to be marked, jw.org Media Center, audio, video construction donation. That's what they want you to do. And they want to be able to track this money, and they want to be able to see how much each congregation is bringing in. The letter's long, and it's even a second part to the letter, but the second part to the letter more or less is for the accountant in the congregation and how to separate the funds. They want to know exactly, what congregations are using the service of sending money in online, and what congregations are actually supporting this Ramapo project. What a scam. I mean, stop and think about it. So here we got another way for witnesses to contribute, an additional contribution box. I mean, this new theocratic assistant arrangement, I want you to know it's approved by Bernie Madoff. Yes, approved by Bernie Madoff, the great time swindler. And that's all the Watchtower is doing, is swindling people to give them money. Now, in the context of that letter, it is said it is truly exciting to see that the rapid growth in Jehovah's organization is creating a need for expanded theocratic facilities to support audio video production. Now, how much truth is there really in that statement? Is there really rapid growth as they're telling the people to be able to have them contribute? Is there really rapid growth? Somebody's got their phone open here and it's driving me nuts. Let's just keep your phones. I'm going to mute everybody here, and please don't touch your phone until I ask you to. That way there, I can think, I can walk and chew gum at the same time. But it's so hard when everyone's lines are open, and it's very, very difficult. I'm not complaining. I'm just explaining. That's all I'm doing. I'm just explaining. But so anyways, here we have the organization looking for more money now, and they're saying because we have rapid growth that, we have to do something. We need to expand our facilities. That is a bunch of baloney. It's truly exciting, they say, to see Jehovah's organization expanding. It's not true. There is virtually no growth in the last 5 years in the Jehovah's Witness religion. And there has been hardly any growth in the last 2 years. I'll give you an example. You want some figures? I'll give you figures. In 2019, there were 8,471,008 average publishers. So in 2019, 8,400,000, okay? In 2021, there were 8,480,000. So I did the numbers. So they had a 9,000 people increase. There were 9,000 more witnesses in 2021 than there were in 2020. Now, that's not a lot. Out of 8 million, I wouldn't call 9,000 new witnesses rapid growth. Would you? No, that is fractional. That's not even showing up on a scale, really, a mathematical scale. It's the lowest growth rates in Watchtower's entire history. Did you know that? Yeah. In the last 2 years, they've had the lowest growth rate in Watchtower history, but yet they come on, and in that letter I just got from Atlantis and I read to you about setting up a new contribution box for the media center, they're saying because of our rapid growth, what a con job. Like I say, it's endorsed by Bernie Madoff. Well, why not? I mean, it's nothing more than a scam. So let's get this straight. It's okay to have a designated contribution box that is marked audio video studio Ramapo. It's okay to have that box in the Kingdom Hall, but you can't have a box for your pet project. Now, let me just explain what I'm talking about. A while back, we talked here on JW World News, and many witnesses had friends and relatives in Ukraine. And some of the witnesses that had these relatives, they wanted to set up a little box where you could donate money to the people in Ukraine that were Jehovah's Witnesses and suffering. Oh, no. You can't do that. You send the money to the Watchtower, and we'll see if it gets. We'll get it to the people in Ukraine. Oh yeah, I wouldn't believe that. So consequently, they can set a box up for one thing, but not for another. I mean, stop and think about it. It's not fair how the Watchtower collects money. And, I even think it's unethical and an outright scam. Now, I had a person this week get a hold of me, and he's planning on going to Washington lobbying on Watchtower money laundering and the scams of collecting money. But I said that's going to be a hard thing to catch them on. It really is. When it comes to financial discrepancies, that is one of the more difficult things to get someone on. But I'm just going to go, even if what they're doing is not illegal, it's not ethical, right? It might be legal, some of the things they're doing, shady practices, but it certainly isn't ethical. And didn't we always learn from the Watchtower? If you wanted to build a house, maybe you wanted to put a garage on your house, or maybe you wanted to even sell your house and build a bigger house. Well, what did the Watchtower elders and the Watchtower always say? Building bigger storehouses could be a problem. Have you sat down and calculated the cost? All of these innuendos they would suggest to you on why not to move forward. But here they are, they're moving forward. And now they got this special contribution box to help them. And they want you to put money in it. And the Watchtower coffers are just getting more and more money in it. Now, people are getting frustrated. It's not just me. It's not just you guys that are listening in, but we had people calling a couple of weeks ago, if you remember, and the woman called in saying that her father, who was a staunch Jehovah's Witness, he's leaving all of his property to the Watchtower, and she's kind of ticked off over that. Well, that's one way they're doing it. So ex-witnesses are getting ticked off, and even loyal card-carrying Jehovah's Witnesses, they are getting ticked off. They're seeing how controlling the Watchtower is over them. They're seeing how their congregations have been hijacked. Their Kingdom Hall property has been hijacked by the Watchtower organization. So this is going to be, something else. And so many witnesses right now are saying, do we really need a multi-million-dollar studio like this? Can't we just do with what we have? No. We have to have it. We've got to produce more video. And that is exactly what the Watchtower is doing. They are producing more and more videos. A good amount of their future income, as they see it, is going to come from videos, from live streaming, from perhaps subscription service. But, the Watchtower, they get money from all angles. They get it on their literature sales, even though they don't make much money on their literature sales, but yet they do bring some money in. They get it from financial donations, like people leaving money and property to the Watchtower. Volunteer labor. Even if a person can't give the Watchtower money, they give them their labor. And also real estate. My goodness, the Watchtower is a giant real estate conglomerate with billions of dollars worth of real estate. And of course, they have all kinds of corporate investment schemes that you guys don't even know about. I mean, they're involved in the stock market. They're involved in all kinds of corporate enterprises, leasing cars, and a number of other things. So, a lot of things we're not even aware of. But don't you all remember? I do. Founder Russell, who actually got the whole Watchtower Society started back in 1879. And you know what he claimed back then? He said that if Jehovah was backing this organization, there would never be a need to beg, petition, or take a collection for money. Well, that's what he said in 1879. And then as we move forward, let's go with 1915. Brother Russell explained in Watchtower of 1915, the July 15th edition, he said, we never considered it proper to solicit money for the Lord's cause, after the common custom, it is our judgment that money raised by the various begging devices in the name of our Lord is offensive. So he's saying that, asking for money is offensive. That this is the founder of the Watchtower. He says it's unacceptable to God for an organization to ask for money to further their work. And it goes on and on and on. But what I notice, this is perhaps the most profound statement, and we all know this, and you can actually even find this in the Proclaimers book in their own publication on page 340. It says here, as early as the second issue of the Watchtower in August 1879, Brother Russell stated that Jehovah is its backer and they're never going to petition. So they're, saying the same thing. And then it says, he who says all the gold and silver of the mountains of mine fail to provide necessary funds, we will understand it's time to suspend our publication. So he's saying here that, they're never going to solicit. And if they do have to solicit, that's the end of the publications. Well, not so fast. That statement was made in the Proclaimers book. And, do the witnesses see that? I mean, are they brain dead? But, they went on and on and on that, only other religions do this. Only other false religions ask for money. Well, I got a clip. I want to play you this clip. Pat Robinson, I don't mind him. He's on the 700 Club. I used to watch it. But there's a clip here of him asking for money. And then there's right after him, I want to play another clip from Jeffrey Jackson. Oh, was it Jeffrey Jackson? I believe it's Jeffrey Jackson that comes on and they're asking for money. Just notice the similarities. Now, I'm not beaten up entirely on Pat Robinson. He seems like a pretty good guy. But some of the things that religions do, some of the things they say, including the Watchtower, some of the things they say really are enough to inflame you. Well, let's listen, and I'm going to share the video. You'll hear it, but you'll see it on Facebook and on the 6th Window. Let's play it. Let's play it now. Let me just get it nice and big and get it so we can see it. All right, let's play the film.
Struggling financially. We can't pay our mortgage, and now it's getting to the point where our tithe to our churches taking away from paying our bills. I pray, but I don't get an answer. Why?
Well, I think the answer is in the Bible. The Bible says to show a man rob God. If you really want his blessing, be faithful with your tithe. And then you've got God as your financial partner, and you have every reason to ask him for his blessing. So that belongs to him. So you remember that little girl that had the little, something for giving, something for saving. You need those buckets. I don't think you're managing your money properly. That's the thing. You need to get a budget. You need to say, what can I cut back of expenditures? Am I living in too big a house? Have I bought too much car? Have I got too many obligations that I could cut out and come back on? And I think you just need some financial help, but don't rob God at the same time.
Well, what they're doing, what they're doing now, oh boy, in fact, I'm going to bring is Tony Morris is going to come up and talk to us here in a second. But I just want to stop it there. So that's Pat Robinson. We all know him. And of course, what he's saying there, a woman wrote into the program, and she's saying she's having such a hard time because of the cost of everything going up, that she's more or less having a hard time, and it's hard for her to tie to the church. So rather than these religious leaders or so-called people who are speaking for God, rather than these people come in and say, well, sister, don't you worry about it. I know things are tight right now, but let it go. God still loves you. I mean, wouldn't that be the thing to say? But no, he had to say that, as bad as things get, just make sure that you have a proper budget. Make sure you don't have a house that's too big. Make sure you don't buy a car that's oversized and you don't need it. So don't rob God. I mean, how does that sound to a person who's doing their best to try to keep up on their tithes or give their church money. And it comes out as if I don't give money to the church, I'm robbing God. I mean, that can make a person feel worse, right? But let's listen to what Tony Morris. Now, Tony Morris, and this, I've been bringing some clips on here in the last year from different religious people who were asking for money. And we had Michael Murdoch, and we had others on here as well that we played. So now we have Tony Morris. And we just read you what the Watchtower said years ago that, they wouldn't ask for money. But how can that be? How can you have on one hand, one side of your mouth, you're saying that we don't ask for money, and then it's blatantly obvious that you do. That is, speaking through both sides of your mouth. So let's listen to what Tony Morris has to say. Let's listen in.
So that's a personal matter. But keep in mind, sometimes if you are poor, remember the widow. So she didn't come there to the temple empty-handed. She didn't have much, but Jehovah loved her. Jesus loved her for giving what she had. So even when we're poor, we're expected to give monetarily. And it's because we love Jehovah, love Jesus, and we appreciate all the blessings we receive.
All right, I'm going to stop that there. And I'm just going to ask you guys, did Jesus ever ask for anything? Did Jesus ever ask for a penny? No. But here we have all these religions making you feel so guilty, including the Watchtower. Tony Morris just said, even if you're poor, Jehovah expects some money. How sick is that? Hey, run with us.
Rick.
Yes.
Jesus mentioned he never even had a home. He never had a place for, so he could lay his head down. He slept under the stars.
Yeah.
And here the governing body, they're living in comfort. But let me share a real quick story with you. This actually happened, and I know others had made comments about this in other videos. I never used to go to the circuit assembly elders meetings where they do the accounts because I was the platform overseer. But one time we didn't have much of a walkthrough, so I went, and we were in Golden, Colorado. The facility was like $4,000, and the total cost for the assembly was around $4,500. Okay, and that was not. They had district overseers at the time and circuit overseers. They still had to pay for that as well, but that was not a big expense. I was shocked when they brought in, and this is Saturday afternoon, they had already brought in $13,000, meaning they had money to pay for the facility. They had the $250 to pay for the circuit overseer, the $300 for the district overseer, and the other cost. On Sunday, the chairman went to the platform and told the congregation that we had a shortfall and could not pay for the building or the costs. So he said, please, brothers, you know what to do. You know how to handle this. And the reason we were at a shortfall is because they sent $12,000 to the Watchtower. Now, don't you think it would have been more loving to pay the bills first? But they don't tell the congregants that. And they did this all the time. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to ask you a question. With this Ramapo project, who's to say they don't already have all the money for the project and they're still drawing money in, and they're not transparent enough to tell the friends, hey, don't send any more money. We have enough money for this big project. You know, this is how crooked they're like a cartel, money launderers. And they don't care about the widows, the children, in the congregations that are doing without, they don't care about any of the publishers. And these scams have been going on for years.
Yes, they have, Joe. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Rick. What the brother just said is completely accurate. If they wanted to pay for the media center, they could have easily done it with the money that they made selling off all the property in Brooklyn and all the Kingdom Halls throughout the country or throughout the world. They could have, with that money that they got from selling those properties, they could have made 10 media centers. Thanks, Rick.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Let's just run some numbers, because what I understand, that media center is going to cost in the vicinity of $150 million plus. Now, that's a lot of money, but let me put it this way to you. That's less than 15% of $1 billion. And they made $2 billion alone on selling off real estate. Now, I know, it costs money to run an organization, but I don't believe they went through $2 billion in cash. I mean, that was cash money they got, plus all the donations, plus even when they built Warwick, when they moved out of Brooklyn, that was all made with additional donations. They were collecting funds to build that and getting free volunteer labor. So yeah, it's diddly squat. It's pocket change to the Watchtower. And yet here they are. Oh, let's set up separate contribution boxes. And we want to make sure what congregations are sending the money in. We're going to keep an eye on them. I'm telling you, money grubbing at its worst. That's the Watchtower. I should say at its best, really. Well, you're on JW World News, the world news and what's going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower. Boy, I'll tell you what, don't you get worked up? Don't you get worked up? Go ahead, yeah.
Rick?
Yes, we got two sisters. Let's go with the first one first. Go ahead. Not Shirley, but the woman before her. Go ahead, sister.
Oh, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, just a quick comment. As far as just to have an idea of what labor might cost, I know this because we make quotes most of the time for labor versus manufacturing. And then easy day, just half would probably be labor costs that they're saving of what maybe the materials or things would cost. Or in some other cases, 75% would be labor if they were to pay somebody for labor. Anyway, that's all.
Yeah, well, hey, labor costs a lot of money. We got another sister. Go ahead, sister.
Well, a lot of people have brought out that, it's funny how corporations like Microsoft and so on can make so much money, and yet they pay their employees a lot of money. They pay overhead and insurance and so on, and yet they make profits. But yet a business like Watchtower has money pouring in from every level, from their shares in stock, from their selling of buildings that usually were built by witnesses, and all their properties, whatever. They have so much money coming in, but they're always crying for money. Remember, they want us to pay our own bills, and they want us to pay for our own projects, but then Watchtower expects us to fund whatever project they come up with. Remember when they didn't want us to have pets, they didn't want us to have dogs, and we figured out that all of that money used to care for the dogs, times thousands and thousands of witnesses, that money could have gone to their pockets. A good scam is one that you feel good about. A good scam is designed to make you feel so good about it that you want to give them your money, right?
Yes.
Thank you, Rick.
Well, thank you, Anne Marie. Now, isn't that something, huh? Everyone listening to our program, they know. They know the Watchtower is really scamming them. I just wish the witnesses saw it. I really, really do.
Hey, Rick?
Yes, Randy.
I just wanted to say something about that special contribution box they've got labeled for the video project that they got going on.
Yeah.
Okay, we know that there's a large percentage of PMOs in the attendance in the Kingdom Hall. We don't know how much exactly because that's, of course, secret, but I'd like to give a challenge to them. If they could take a printer and probably even if they don't have a printer to print it, maybe you or I know you're in the sign business, I think, we could print them up
a label that with a pill and stick label, a nice, attractive one that would say Anthony Morris Liquor Donation Box, and just stick it right over it.
Well, yeah, that's a good thing, Randy. Yeah. Well, I would say that would be a nice little box that we could, get those stickers. You know those stickers they're putting on the gas pumps. Joe did this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
maybe.
then take pictures of it and let's put it all up on Facebook or Pinterest or something. We'll just have a contest on it.
Oh yeah. Well, that's a darn good idea. A darn good idea. Excellent. Thank you,
Hey,
Randy.
Rick, along with that, let's have a collection box for Jeffrey Jackson's new Bentley.
Right, and he does have that new Demon too. That $80,000 Dodge Demon with little demon decals on it. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, no, that's good. These are good thoughts. Good thoughts. Hey, friends, we have got coming up at 8:30. Last week we had a couple come in, and they out of the Watchtower. They're still like Pimos, but Joe and Fran, and they, boy, I'll tell you, they had a lot to say last Saturday night. Now they're coming back on again in about 15 minutes, and I'm looking so forward to it. So they're going to be coming back on to give us some more thoughts on what's going on in their life since they left the Watchtower. They just left less than a year ago, last December. They left the Watchtower. So what is that, December? Well, what's that about? Well, probably about 8 months now. Yeah, about 8 months. So they're kind of new out, and they have their brother-in-law. Well, he's going to be coming on. He never was a witness, but he evidently wrote an essay to a newspaper explaining how weird or how awkward the Jehovah's Witnesses are. So they'll be coming on in about 15 minutes. So let's look forward to that. But in the meantime.
Hey Rick?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
This is Michael.
Yes, Michael.
Yeah, I just want to tell you, I called in when they were on the last time, and I told them to remember 2 scriptures. So I got to make a correction. I told them John 14:28. I meant John 14:6. I am the way, I'm the truth, and I am the life. So I wanted to make that correction to them.
All right, Mike. Well, thank you, Mike, for doing that. But they'll be on, and I believe they're on with us right now listening in. So give them that scripture again, just so they got it clear.
Okay. Yeah, John 14:6. I am the way, I'm the truth, I'm the life. And Romans 10:9. And I shared a song with them. I hope they listen to it. It's called He Knows My Name. It was on my internet.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to tell you, Rick, that I talked to my friend who was an elder in the congregation. We're real close. He's a professional. And he was, honestly, he was devastated about Stephen Lett's comment. And he took it to some of his elder friends. And he told me they were very disappointed in what he said. And of course, they tried to cover it over, but every man makes mistakes. Every person makes mistakes. But as I told him, I said, you're in the governing body, and that's supposed to be God's message, coming down through them. And he told me, and you might know this, but he told me that they don't believe that anymore. That the governing bodies doesn't provide the spiritual food from God. Do you know anything about that? Because I always thought that was the case.
Yeah, well, no, they have in the last, I would say in the last couple of years, that they have been coming on and they have been saying that, the Watchtower, the governing body does make mistakes. And, they do, they're in a position of responsibility, but sometimes they do fall short. So there's been a number of articles along that way, which I thought was kind of unusual because they never really ever spoke abusively. And I wouldn't say that's total abusive, but they never did downgrade or speak lowly of anyone, high officials of the Watchtower. But they have been up lately, Michael. They have been, yes.
Yeah. And then also, I told him about thinking that they were the only true religion. And he said, we don't believe that anymore either. And I found that stunning.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm hearing things that's hot. Now, I know that there's no reason for Michael to come on here and fib to us. I mean, but we're hearing.
No, that's what he told. I wish I would have recorded it.
Yeah, because it just blows your mind.
He even sent me, yeah. And then he also talked about, he had a couple of Jewish friends. I told you before, I studied Jewish history. We talked about the temple, 587, 607. He told me he had a couple of Jewish friends. And then out of the blue, he said that they're going to bring back the Ezekiel books and start the study of the Ezekiel books again. And I was like so excited. I said, hey, that's great. You're going to learn about the third temple that's going to be built. And man, did I get the door slammed in my face right there when I said that. So maybe it wasn't the right thing to say.
Well, there you go. Well, Michael, well, thank you for sharing that for us. But I'm glad you did that. Look at, because a lot of people are upset over Let. You're not really. Those brothers, they know something's wrong with that. This guy, and he wasn't, that wasn't something that was impromptu or off the record. That was written to for him to say that. They don't get up there and just speak from the top of their head. It's a manuscript.
Right.
Yeah.
And you could tell that by his facial expressions, smiling when he said enemies of God. He's almost smiling when he says that.
You got it.
So, yeah. So, hey, nice talking to you, Rick, and I'll talk to you later.
Well, Michael, thank you very much. Always good to hear from you. Thank you very much for that. Well, anyways, we got Joe and Fran and the brother-in-law coming on here very shortly, but I wanted to bring one other thing up here that I thought we should at least talk about. You know, the convention is on the Pursue Peace convention. Pursue Peace. That's the theme. Every convention has a theme, right? You probably can remember some: Peace on Earth, the Making Disciples convention, the Victory convention. I mean, there's always a theme, but this is the Pursue Peace. So obviously the witnesses are watching it now. It's a 3-day event, evidently. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they're listening to it. Now, in the second part of Friday, there was a video. Second part of Friday afternoon session, there was a video, and evidently the Watchtower has a new rule. Yeah, the Watchtower now has a new rule, it looks like, and it's relating to dress and grooming. Well, you know, they've always come down on dress and grooming, right? That's nothing new. But what we're finding in the video, I don't have the video. I do have information explaining what was in the video. The message was there. Evidently, there was a girl, and let me put a picture up. This isn't from the Jehovah's Witnesses, but this is, I'm going to put this picture up and share it with you if you're on Facebook and YouTube. Now, that is jeans that have holes in them. Yeah, blue jeans that have holes in them. I think most of you people listening in here tonight have seen people walking around the shopping centers and walking around the streets with jeans with holes in them. And, you know, maybe you like them. I don't like them that much. I mean, I wouldn't wear them. I don't see the purpose for wearing them. You know, some of those jeans, they go $200 and they go up from there. So, you know, these aren't like a poor man's jeans. Women are wearing them and men are wearing them. Well, I'll show you how it looks on a man. You see how it looks on a woman? Well, that's how it looks on a man. Does that look like, does that look good? Serious jeans with big holes in the knees and falling apart. I'm not sure why it's such a fashion statement, but it certainly seems to be. But the Watchtower's clamping down on this. They were saying in the context of the video that, you know, jeans like that are improper, not to be worn by Jehovah's Witnesses. Well, here the witnesses go again. They're going to, you know, control you from the cradle to the grave. Now, I can see not wearing those jeans to the meeting or out in service or to a convention, or if you're going to visit Bethel. But if you choose to wear jeans like that, which I wouldn't, but if you choose to do it, so be it. Oh, no, don't do it. Now, you know, the Watchtower has been picking on people's pants here for years. We had Tony Morris. Well, he was saying pants were too tight. Now here we go again with, you know, pants with holes in them aren't good either. And also they're saying, I guess at this convention too, that even men that wear big baggy pants, that isn't good to do as a witness either. So, geez, what type of pants? You can't wear baggy pants. You can't wear pants with holes in them. You can't wear tight pants. I'm not sure what they want you to wear. And also they were talking about, they didn't really totally mention it, but they kind of brought attention to it with women and men both wearing flip-flops, you know, sandals per se. And, you know, in the summer, people like those flip-flops. But, you know, the Watchtower has something to say about everything. Did I hear someone want to say something? Go ahead. Yeah, so this is what they're doing. they're now coming down again. And this is what a cult has to do. If a cult isn't controlling you, they're not doing their job. So they got to control you. And these flip-flops, when I saw that got my attention, because I'm saying, gee, I don't wear flip-flops, by the way. I don't wear sandals either. But I know there's people do. And in the summertime, I think it's kind of neat. But evidently the Watchtower's got some issues with them. But, in fact, one thing is, I'm going to tell you, I don't know if you guys know this or not. It's not to get too over ventilating sexuality here. But, I can remember reading about, back in the day, and even till this day, there are men, and then of course there would be brothers as well, that they really get excited over women's feet. Did you know that? And I'm finding that the Watchtower always have to, somehow, some way, there's some sex involved in things. They seem to exploit sex in many ways, yet at the same time they're covering up perhaps the worst sex of all is with children, and covering up child sex abuse. But women's feet, and I'll tell you that there are men and even young boys that get excited. In fact, there was one guy, one young brother, and he was telling me that he used to get excited when he went to the conventions, when the sisters would wear these sandals and slip them off and he could see their feet. He says it really excited him. I mean, there's got to be some real sexual perverted people in this organization, friends. But here we go with flip-flops. Here we go how to dress. I'm just bringing this up because the Watchtower wants to, they want to control you, as they say, from the cradle to the grave. Well, before we bring some guests on here, who'd like to speak up about this? Did you guys ever get counsel for grooming? Did they ever call you in the back room and say, hey, I don't like the way you look? Did they? What do you think? Let's hear from you.
It's happened to me.
Has it happened to you, Dick?
It's happened to me.
What do they do, Dick?
Oh, yeah. They didn't like those sideburns.
Oh, they didn't.
They didn't like it. Oh, my God. The shame of it all. Sideburns that went down to the bottom of my ear. They didn't like that. And I wore a pink shirt. I had a real nice outfit with a pink handkerchief and a nice tie that blended all the colors in. And my former wife said, "That looks great on you." Well, they called me aside, Brother Borgie, pink, that color is really for women, don't you think? I'd say no. I don't think so. I'm secure in my masculinity. I don't know about you, brother, because he didn't like that. But, I kept on wearing it. I didn't care what he thought. That was just one brother's opinion.
Yeah, well, no, that's did they ever get you for your ripped jeans or what?
No, I never used ripped jeans. No, I had sandals, but I never wore them to the Kingdom Hall.
Yeah, well, they're on you for everything, Dick.
Rick?
Yes, go ahead.
Rick?
Yes.
Yeah, it's Steve.
Yes, Steve.
I've been in the organization long enough where when you're young and they talk about, because I went through that too. They don't like the clothes, the hair, the mustache, but it is an initiation or a grooming to check and see how well you will listen. Because if you cannot follow that and listen, then they're never going to use you or as a ministerial servant or give you any privileges, because that's the proving ground. And there were brothers, when they were told to get a haircut, they complied immediately. They kept their hair very, very short. They were told they could only wear a white shirt. That's all they ever wore. Those were the ones that got used because they proved they were very compliant. It's really, and the brothers don't realize that when the elders do this, they, like I say, it's a proving ground. It's a testing. If they can't follow that, then when they're told to do other things, if they're a ministerial servant or an elder, they're not going to listen either. So it's a very effective way to screen brothers whether or not they are servant material and they will be obedient. And it's a very accurate method because I never listened to it. I did what I wanted to do. I dressed very fashionable but conservative, very businesslike. but I never, ever was used. And I spent many decades in this organization. But again, like I say, I saw the pattern. The brothers that complied absolutely got used. The brothers that didn't never got used. So it's a screening process, whether people realize it or not, and it works very well.
Well, you're absolutely right. They do use it as that. And you either comply or you don't get positions. That's exactly right. Well, my goodness, I want to thank everyone. We got more programming.
Hello, Rick.
Yes, Constance.
Hi, dear. I was hoping I could get in. I have my friend and my former client. She's a PMO, and she wanted so much, Rick, to come on over and listen to your show. So she's right here, and she wanted to make a comment on what you're talking about.
Oh, absolutely.
Hi, Rick.
Hi.
My mom used to say that it was always sexual because and she was of the anointed, and she would only go to assemblies and memorial, and she was a Titus, and I'm a Titus, but my maiden name is Titus. And she used to tell me it was always the dressing on your clothes, and she used to say they get overboard on it all the time.
Well, yes, they did. I mean, she wasn't wearing flip-flops, was she?
Oh, yeah, she wore flip-flops.
I can't imagine an anointed. I can't imagine an anointed sister wearing flip-flops. My goodness. Well, thank you for.
Well, she did.
I got a call.
Well, well, thank you.
I got a comment.
Go ahead.
Hey, about 25 years ago, some pioneer sisters cornered my daughter about what I noticed in that picture was her midriff and her belly button.
Oh, yeah, that's bad.
They got on her about that.
Of course they
but
would.
It wasn't at meetings. It was just,
around the
she was
house.
wearing around a little short shirt.
Yeah.
So they got on her about that.
Oh, yes, they do. That's a no belly buttons, no belly buttons, absolutely. Well, thank you. That's Rob, right? Thank you, Rob. Hey, what we're going to do here, we're going to bring, okay, now everyone just, if you're not on with us, mute your phone, hit *6. Everyone do that first. Everyone hit *6. And we're going to bring our, yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Brother Farron. What I'm about to say doesn't have anything to do with the subject, really. You know, that sounds
Well,
so
we don't,
YouTube.
Kim, we don't have time right now. We get some guests coming on. Maybe you can hold it for a later.
It won't take long.
Go ahead, kid. Take a minute.
It won't take long.
All right, good.
I mean, yeah. If you can, when you go on YouTube, there's this woman. She just came out. Her name is Daphne Charles. If you can check her out on YouTube.
Yeah.
She's a newcomer. She just came out, and she's trying to help the Haitian community of XGWs.
Yeah.
So if you can check her out, it's really interesting. I mean, her story is there. Oh my God.
Well, what's your name again?
She says she was very.
What's your name again?
Her name is Daphne Charles.
Bethany. You're saying with a B, Bethany?
No, Daphne. It's a woman. Daphne. D as a dog. A-P-H.
Oh, okay, I got it. Okay, Daphne. Okay. All right, I got
Daphne Charles.
All right.
Yeah, check her out. She
just
came out like a year ago.
We'll check it out.
And she was very fascinated with the Candice County case.
Very good.
That's when she read her story in the New York Times for the first time.
All right.
And that's when she started to research
All right.
And she just came out. So
I'll check it out. I'll check it out. Okay, good. Thank you, Kim. Thank you.
Yeah, please do. No,
all right.
No problem. Okay.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Yep, bye. Well, we got to bring Fran and we got to bring Joe on. Come on with us, guys. Hit *6 to come on. You there with us?
Hi, Rick.
Hello,
How
Joe.
Are you, Rick?
Joe, I'm doing good. Fran on there with you?
Oh, good. Yeah, she will be shortly.
All right. Now we get your brother-in-law in here too.
I'm here.
Oh, you're here. Okay. Sir, what's your name, by the way, so I can have a reference point here?
Sure, David.
David. I love the name David. That was my grandfather's name. That's a Bible name. I always loved the name David.
It's a great name.
Oh, good. It's a name with a lot of meaning, I'll tell you that. So anyways, we got David, we got Joe. Now, David, I guess never was one of Jehovah's Witnesses, but he's going to be telling us how he feels about Jehovah's Witnesses from a kind of like from a worldly perspective, we could say. So we were glad. Now, just to fill you guys in, Fran and Joe, they got out of the Watchtower. I mean, at least they started distancing from it last December 2021. So we just got a little bit. I'm just going to make sure we got a number of people on the phone here tonight. Just want to make sure we got a number of people muted that have to be muted. Okay. All right. So we do have David on. We got Joe on. Joe and Fran came on last week. They distanced themselves beginning about 6-7 months ago from the Watchtower, and they called up the 6 Queens last week, and they got us all excited. We all nearly fell off the seat when they came in. But we talked to them this week. And so now let's see. We got a lot of static coming in. I think it's coming from your phone, Joe. Even the other day we had that issue, but probably not too much. Are you on headphones? No.
No, just speaker.
All right. Maybe we could come off the. If I come off the speaker, you won't be able to hear me, though, will you? No.
Okay. Let's see. Can you hear me?
Yeah, count to 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, it's a lot better off speaker. I just hope that I know Fran's here with you and she'll be able to hear what's being said. But
no, if it works like this, I can maintain this.
Okay, that's good. All right, so that is a little better. We still got some static going on, but sometimes you can't stop it all. But anyways, so why don't we hear from David first? He's a relative of yours, and now would that be Fran's brother, or is that your brother, Joe?
Brother-in-law.
Oh, brother-in-law. So it's the brother-in-law. Okay.
My brother-in-law.
Oh, your brother-in-law. Okay. So let's go with this. Let's bring David on, and let's get David's perspective. I mean, he knew his family members were witnesses. Let's get his perspective on Jehovah's Witnesses. David, you're on there with us. Go ahead. Tell us about it.
Well, it was nice having you invite me, Rick. I really appreciate it. And hi, Joe, and hi, Fran. How you guys doing?
Good, Dave. Good.
Great. Good. So, Rick, I think maybe I should just give you a quick background, if you don't mind. I hope your listeners know where I'm coming from. I was in higher education for a good number of years. I was an adjunct professor. I taught management and economics. And while I was teaching, I was writing for the largest community college newspaper in the country called Campus News. And I had my own column. And of course, most of my topics were on education. From that point, I really got into the writing bug, and I started doing some more exploring more ways where I can do my writing and express myself. And so for the last 5 years, I hooked up with a company called Local News that's in Oswego, New York. It's about an hour and a half, 2 hours from where I live in upstate New York. And I write for them, and I write for a magazine that's called In Good Health. So it's a lot of health-related articles I do, and I interview a lot of people in the health field. Now, that being said, my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law both know that I enjoy writing, and they approached me several months ago and asked me if I would consider writing an article on what's going on with the Jehovah's Witnesses, because I can see what was going on with my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, the struggles they were having, the incredible courage it took them to this point of time. And Joe felt very strongly, as well as Fran, that perhaps if I wrote something, it would help other people. So honestly, Rick, when I got home and I talked to my wife, I'm not going to say I wasn't comfortable. I just didn't know if I wanted to do it. And I won't go into that tonight, but I was hedging a little bit. So I asked Joe and Fran to give me a couple of days just to meditate and prayer about it. And and see where the Spirit was going to take me. And, well, God spoke, and God said, get on that laptop of yours and write this. And once I did, it was, I was fully committed, and took me about a month. I did a lot. The article, Rick, is a combination of investigative reporting / opinion op-ed. And I just finished it up. I've submitted it to a number of magazines. Publications I'm waiting to hear. And anybody who's done any writing that's listening in on your show knows that it can take 3, 4, 5, maybe up to 6 months before you get published. But I just want to say one thing. For most writers, including myself and other writers I've talked to, the hardest place to start writing is you have to come up with a good title. And I was struggling a little bit with my title. I said, what am I going to call this? And my brother-in-law, Joseph, came to me and he says, David, why don't you title it this? And this is the title he gave me, and this is the title that I've copyrighted and I put into my article. Is shunning the new old, quote unquote, hate crime? So you get a little bit of what's going on, okay?
Yeah. I like the title. I like the title.
Yeah.
You're still on with us, yep?
Yeah. So the article is. I'm sorry. Say that again.
Yeah, go ahead. It's just we got a lot of people calling in. They leave their phones unmuted, so there might be a little bit. But don't worry, we're all listening to you, Dave. I'll let you know if you're not coming on. Yep.
Right. So I'm not going to sit here and obviously read a 5,000 word investigative opinion editorial. What I did, I will let you know and let your readers know that I did talk a lot about Jehovah's Witnesses and their draconian practice of shunning, disfellowship and that stuff. But I also brought in how everyone, or most people, not everyone, but most people, were victims of shunning when the COVID-19 hit a couple years ago. And families shunned other family members for a variety of different reasons. And so I brought both in. I wanted to show a secular and non-secular stream of thought on shunning. But I went pretty heavy on the Jehovah's Witnesses. And I'll just tell your readers that the Department of Justice, they are responsible for prosecuting federal hate crimes in this country. And and of course, every state in this country, except for a few states, all have their own state written laws on hate crimes. And the ones that don't have them are, I believe it's Arkansas, Wyoming, and I'm sorry, I can't remember what the last one was. But what I want your readers to know, South Carolina. So I just want people to know, wherever you live in this country, if you feel you're a victim of a hate crime, you can call the Department of Justice and they'll report it to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. But here's where it gets sticky, Rick, and this is where the meat of my my article is on. I challenge the readers, but more so, I challenge the Department of Justice to take a good look at their definition of what a hate crime is. Now, in their definition of a hate crime, it's basically based upon a serious threat of violence. That's usually when we hear of a hate crime. Someone's a victim of a hate crime. It's usually of a violent nature, physical. Someone gets hurt very badly or they could be killed. Also, there's property damage can happen and so forth and so on. And it's based basically on a person's ethnicity, we'll say, national origin, background, gender identity, religious beliefs, et cetera, et cetera. But the nuance here is that I want people to understand is this, and I really think this needs to be looked at, are people who are victims of a psychological damage or incident, when we use shunning, of course, the outcomes of that psychological damage isn't any less than the physical damage that someone receives from a physical hate crime? My answer is no, it's no less. It's actually just as bad, if not worse. And in my investigative reporting and in my research, I bring out many different examples of that. And I've had the wonderful opportunity, the blessing really, to have talked to a number of former Jehovah's Witnesses who were great. I was grateful that they gave me their time, that I actually had time to interview them, and they're part of my article as well.
Well, that sounds very fascinating. Very, very fascinating, David. Boy, there's something that I in the context of what you were saying that caught my attention. Shunning could really, in some instances, come under hate crime. And, so that's a different avenue. Maybe some of us witnesses who have been shunned could use that as a way to get the government to listen to what's being said here with the Jehovah's Witnesses. I visited I won't go into detail, but I did bring it to a congressman's attention about shunning years ago. And he seemed to think that, there's no law against shunning, but now that things have really moved forward when it comes to hate crimes and hate incidents, I can see where it could come under that, David. Good work. Good work.
Yeah, thank you, Rick. It's I think it's going to take just people, who feel that they are a victim of this draconian, terrible, egregious shunning, to bring it forward and let proper authorities know. As you well know, and I'm sure your listeners know, worldwide, there's a number of court cases. The one in Belgium, the one in I believe it's in Norway, or up in the Netherlands somewhere, up in the Nordic countries, and other places of the world where people are bringing these Jehovah's Witnesses who have been shunned so terribly. They're bringing it to the courts, and the courts are siding with the ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. And compensating them in a variety of different ways, from a money compensation or whatnot. And so, in my article, another question I ask is there a crack in the veneer now? In other words, from these other places throughout the world where Jehovah's Witnesses have sites and whatnot, and these ex-Jehovah's Witnesses are bringing a criminal acts against the Jehovah's Witnesses for shunning. Can that now start breaking the veneer down in this country, where people of this country can start acting using legal ways to bring this to attention to other people? Let's face it. We all know. I know, and through my research and talking to my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law. And of course, Rick, I know you know, and a lot of your callers know, there are people who have been disfellowshipped and have been so traumatized that they either committed, a suicide, or they did a suicide homicide. And I have some of that in my article as well.
Well, that sounds like a really good article. Hold on one second there, brother. I just got to say one thing here. That's interesting. You really bring this up because we have a program coming on later on tonight at about 11 o'clock. And the program is called After the Storm. And they're going to be talking about that very issue in Belgium about the shunning and what's going on over there. But, so you're right up to date. I have to say, David, you are right up to date on this. You did your homework. You did your homework.
Well, well, thank you, and I certainly, it will get published. I'm just not sure who's going to pick it up or when, but I know it will be published, and hopefully it will help other people.
Well, good for you. Well, David, I believe we have some people who want to come in and say hello to you. I mean, would that be okay?
Well, please. Absolutely. I'm right here.
All right. Listen, we get David.
Good evening, Professor.
Go ahead.
Good evening, Professor. This is Dick Borghi, and I think you're right on target. I'm a disabled veteran, So I've been in a lot of groups with veterans that have lost legs and arms and so forth in combat, and they will tell you that the PTSD, the psychological effect, is worse than actual losing a leg. So I think you're spot on with saying that how damaging disfellowshipping can be to someone that's that's been disfellowshipped, and it's psychologically devastating. I know I haven't talked to my kids in 30 years just because of my disfellowship.
Well, you said Dick, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm having a little trouble with my phone, Dick. First of all, and I know this is kind of a cliche, but I absolutely mean it 100% from my heart. Thank you for your service and your sacrifice. And I don't just say that to say it. And I'm sorry about the suffering that you've gone through. Yes, psychological damage to a person is probably one of the most heinous crimes that we can commit against someone, to psychologically damage them. And I do agree with you, Dick, that while physically we can go through horrible traumas, and I've been through some of my own, I'm nothing in like your case, but I've had my own health issues and different things, and trying to recovering from that. But psychological damage is so devastating, and I think a lot of people are starting to realize and understand that, particularly in the lieu of the political environment that we're in today, and all the tension and anxiety and fear that is in the air. It's palpable. You can cut it with a knife, and everybody's affected in some way. So, yeah, psychological damage and PTSD is certainly very damaging, and we need to look at this and address it and take care of people who are going through something like that. So thank you for your comments. Again, appreciate it.
You're welcome, and thank you for coming on to Things.
Absolutely.
Well, we have got David. The voice you're listening to is a man named David. Never was one of Jehovah's Witnesses, but he's a relative of Jehovah's Witnesses, and he realizes the harm, the danger in shunning. If you'd like to say hello to David, he's on with us here right now. Why don't you say hello to David? Let him know that you agree with everything he's saying. I mean, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but, David has written some articles. He's doing a great job exposing what shunning really can do to people. So go ahead, say hello to David. He's with us now. Don't be shy.
Hey, David?
Hello,
David?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, hey, this is
I'm sorry. I didn't get your first name, sir. I'm sorry.
Thomas.
Thomas?
And, yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'll tell you what, I'm a victim of shunning too, but not near as bad as some people, because I didn't ever have family in there. But I can tell you, it does affect you. I work at a job where for many years I never had to work with Jehovah's Witnesses because they didn't want to work in a greeting card factory where we have birthday cards, Christmas cards. They kind of compromised. We have 2 Jehovah's Witnesses there now. I was in the out of the organization for over 20 years, never had to deal with it. Now, this one lady came to work. She's a Jehovah's Witness, and about a year later, her husband come to work out there, and they both shunned me. I have a situation one day where he was walking ahead of me. I was right behind him. He started speeding up with his walk, like he had to hurry up, get away from me. And they'll be in their car, and I'll be leaving the parking lot, and they'll just both turn their heads. They won't even look at me. And it's so obvious. It's just, it doesn't really bother me that much, but it just makes me feel bad for people that have family in there. It bothers them, but not like them, And I just think it's just so horrible. I wish there was something I could do personally to stop this thing. I would. I just really hate seeing people get hurt like that. It is so wrong and so evil to rob people of their religious freedom. If a person doesn't want to be a Jehovah's Witness, that's their God-given right. They have no right to tear up a person's family. Look what happened to this Michael guy recently. Man, he lost his, he committed suicide. His wife was going to divorce him, and she said he would never see his kids. It just literally devastated the poor guy. I think these brothers need to be held accountable. And I don't like the way they lied to a lot of people in the community there, and everybody just didn't act like they wanted to talk about it when they were questioned. I just think it's just horrible. I would just love to see this organization pay the piper really big time for this one.
Well, thanks for your insights on that. I'm sorry, I think I just talked over someone. Is that you, friend?
Hi, yes, I was just wanting to add just real quick. Thank you so much for this conversation, and thank you so much for the comments here. I am being shunned and continue to be shunned. And I just wanted to say that I've reached out to a couple of those that have shunned me, and they have a level of arrogance. They've been empowered by this business to shun others. And if I could please shake them up to just stop their shunning, they don't understand that they are shunning. And I don't think that they realize a lot of these witnesses, they're just empowered, and we empower them when we give them attention. And so it's just so, anyways, thank you. I just want to say thank you. And thank you, sir, for your service. And thank you, Professor, for your comments. And thank you for caring about us Jehovah's Witnesses, ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, enough to comment the way you are. Thank you so much. And the gentleman that just talked about the shunning and your passion regarding it, I so appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're more than welcome. More than welcome.
Well, David, I'm telling you, we got a lot of people. We got a lot of problem, a lot of static on the phone. I'm not sure it might be coming from your phone, but that's okay. Are you on speaker or headphones or something?
Well, I am on speaker. Let me get off speaker. How's that?
Yeah, that's a lot better. Yeah, a lot better.
Okay.
Yeah,
I want to apologize to you and other people who called in if they had some static.
Yeah,
but I'm on my laptop and I have my story open, and just in case, if I want to go and pluck a few things out for your listeners. But now that's okay. I'm off.
Yeah, that's the only issue we have. Better. Yeah, well, that is way better. Great. Yeah. So no, that's one of the issues that we have here. But anyways, my goodness, that's amazing. Now I'm going to bring Joe and Fran back on. Joe and Fran, I muted you because of sound issues, but I'm going to bring you back on. So they're on with us.
Hi, we're here.
Okay,
we're
Joe
here.
and Fran, what we got is I want you guys to take them. I'm going to come off of YouTube right now. You're still on our radio network. We're getting set up for another programming coming up in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to leave the lines open, Joe and Fran. You're being heard by a number of platforms here. So why don't you just keep continuing this conversation? And we really appreciate your brother-in-law, David, coming on. And you guys just kind of talk and let people know how you feel about after you left the Watchtower, you guys, okay?
Yeah, I have to thank David for all that work that you're doing, because what it's doing is just showing how deep